guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite palettes for fall. I've talked before how fall is my favorite season of the year. It's Halloween, Thanksgiving, the football season, and I just love fall makeup. Dark vampy lips, like rosy gold, like bronze toned eyes, bringing out the berries. It's my favorite makeup season. Now, obviously you can wear whatever you want, whenever you want. These are just the palettes that get me inspired and get me thinking of fall. So the first palette that I have is the Lorac Pro 2 palette. And this is the cooler toned one, which I feel like cool tones instinctively make me feel like the fall and winter. So this is what the color scheme looks like, and it's such a pretty palette. This purple here, this green, this like silvery taupe, and even these bronze colors just get me inspired for like that warm bronze color with a bold lip like I have on today. I love this palette. I have talked about the Lorac formula a few times. I like it. The metallics aren't in your face, but with like a glitter glue or a setting spray, you can really amp them up, but they are more of a satin finish right off the bat. But these mattes are so blendable and high quality, and I can create a really pretty neutral every day or add this blue for like a vampy time look. A palette that was actually a summer release that I'm wearing today that I think of it when it comes to fall is the California Love palette by Colorpop. This is part of the summer collection, but when you open it up, I just think of fall. I have this on my eyes today. I have this dark brown in the outer corner. I mixed these two in the crease. I have this color all over the lid. And I also have just like a really bold brown wig liner with my lovely bold Kylie Love Bite lipstick. But this color scheme just reminds me of fall. Like, this is the color of pumpkin spice lattes. It's so pretty. I've talked a few times about how my only con is that there's a pressed glitter, but this color scheme is just really warm and rich. If you've never tried the Colorpop formula, I find they're consistent throughout. These shimmers are just really buttery and creamy, and the mattes are super blendable. So there's swatches of two of the shimmers. I've tried multiple Colorpop palettes, and I find the formula is consistent throughout. So maybe if this palette isn't the one that screams fall to you, there's another one you can find on their website. I have a whole bunch of Anastacio palettes in front of me because for some reason, Anastacio just has the color schemes that make me think of fall. And the first one is probably one of my favorite palettes, and it's the Modern Renaissance. These berries in here, just like, it's all I want to wear. My go-to look with this palette when I'm not using the neutrals is to put the shade Red Ochre on like the outer 2/3 of my lid, and then put this shade, which is Primavera, on like the inner corner, and it makes a really pretty like gold red smoky eye. It just reminds me of like the colors of the leaves changing. My goal is to eventually hit pan on all of the shades in this palette, but you can just tell how much I love it because who hits pan on literally half the shades of an eyeshadow palette? Cypress Umber. Cypress Umber is the perfect brown to like deepen up your look. And sometimes I'll do a really natural look and just use it as eyeliner. It has these two shimmers, and then over here, Antique Bronze is a shimmer, but it's not as foiled and metallic as Primavera and Vermeer are. But it's your everyday staple palette, and I love bringing this out. This will definitely be in my Shop My Stash for November. I've already picked up my Shop My Stash for October, so if you haven't seen that video, I'll either have it linked up above or down below. But the Anastacio formula is my favorite. If you haven't tried it, they are powdery eyeshadows, but I find that because of that, they're really blendable and buildable. They have insane pigmentation, so I suggest going in with a little bit at a time, but they're buildable. The shimmer quality has definitely improved, and I have another palette I'm gonna talk about that has like insane shimmers, but these can definitely be built up to be more metallic, but they're kind of a soft look, and I get a compliment every time that I wear this palette. I've worn it when I was a bridesmaid at a wedding. I take it with me traveling. I brought it with me to Europe. It's just my palette that I go to when I don't know what else to do. The other Anastacio palette that I think people automatically think of fall, even though they might not like this palette, is Subculture. I did do a get ready with me using my September Shop My Stash, and Subculture was in there. So I'll have that linked up above or down below if you want to see a look that I created using some of the mattes in this palette. But Subculture is such a nice color scheme, and part of me wishes they would reformulate this palette into their like traditional Anastacio formula because a lot of people had issues with this. I find that I personally don't have issues with this palette, but I do go in with like the smallest amount at a time to avoid any like cakey and muddy buildup. But this color scheme is just so rich, and I find that I'm always inspired. I love the shade New Wave, which is like this mac and cheese yellow, and the shade Cube is probably one of my favorite Anastacio metallics. It's a pink-white duochrome. So it looks white and there's that flash of pink. And I like when I'm able to put a matte on my lid and then just lightly tap Cube on top, and it just adds this like extra dimension. Electric is also a duochrome shimmer in here, and it's a like nude to green shimmer. There's the shade Electric. And I remember the first time that I wore this palette, I like picked up a TJ Maxx and I was like, I'm gonna try an eye look and like see what this palette's all about. And I was like, Electric sucks, like I can't see it. And then I was like, oh, it's a duochrome. And like, I use this every time I do a green eyeshadow look, even if it's like the inner corner, like a small subtle something. Because Subculture is discontinued, I just wish these two shades were singles. Like everything else I will be upset and part with, but these two shades are my favorite. And then Adorn, I believe, is actually, I'm not sure if it's a pressed pigment, but it's your run-of-the-mill bronze metallic. But that's a staple for me. This palette might look intimidating, but I'm able to pull off like everyday, like wear to work, like easy eye looks. And then this can totally be like your grungy palette with like these darker shades over here. And it complements a lot of the other palettes in the Anastasia range. And the last Anastasia palette I have is the Novena palette, which is actually in my Shop My Stash for this month. So if you haven't seen the other products that I picked out, I'll have that once again linked up above or down below. But something about purples just scream fall. I actually also wore this palette in a wedding and I just love it. Remember when I talked about there was a palette that had the insane shimmer quality? I feel like from Norvina on, so you have Norvina, Jackie Aina, Riviera, and Sultry, which are the palettes that I own. Their shimmer formula is phenomenal. It looks like a metallic on your lid and they're so creamy, they can be almost flaky, so just be cautious. But it's like butter. I love this palette. My only gripe with it is that I actually hate this shade Soul, which I feel like was one of the standout shades of the palette. But it's like a purple with a gray undertone, and I find it just never looks good on me, but it looks good on everyone else. So maybe I just can't do eyeshadow as good as they can. But this pink Love, I surprisingly use a lot more than I thought I would, considering I'm not a fan of pinks on my eyes. And the shade up here, Rose Gold, is like the prettiest rose gold probably in the entire world. That's the shade Rose Gold right there. And you can really see just how metallic they are. The shades are really pretty. I just wish this palette had a little bit more depth. So I sometimes use the shade Drama as a matte and I'll just tap off the shimmer. But I think this palette can be a struggle for people with darker skin tones. So you might have to incorporate another palette that has a bit more depth when it comes to the matte shadows. And the last eyeshadow palette that I have is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes of all time, and it's something that I always reach for when I don't know what to do. It has pretty much everything you need to make a colorful or a neutral eye look. And I love the fact that it has mattes in this palette. So you have the shade here, Rollin' in the Dough, So Bougie, Cocoa Truffle, and Decadent, which are 4 mattes. And they're kind of the mattes that I use to build any eye look. I'm surprised I haven't hit pan on the shade Cocoa Truffle, but you can see that's almost out there. But then once I build up those mattes, I can use any of these shimmers. You have some really neutral ones. You have a bronze, you have like a purpley bronze, you have a gold, you have a rose gold, you have like a true gold, you have like a more taupey gold, and then you have these pops of colors like the purple, the pink, the silver, this olive green, this like money green. And this is the highest quality palette that Too Faced has ever come out with. It still smells like chocolate and I love opening it, and sometimes I just smell it and then put it back. But these shimmers last so long that I've actually worn them without my eyes being primed, and I've never had an issue. And I have really oily and like somewhat hooded eyelids. So if I don't prime, I know my eyeshadow is going to be gone within a few minutes. So the fact that these shades can stay on is really an achievement to their quality. I love this palette. I wore it for New Year's. I've worn it for holidays like Valentine's Day. I've worn this rose gold. New Year's, I believe I did this silver all over the lid. I can wear this for Christmas because you have the greens, and the other holidays. Like I've worn this for Thanksgiving because I've worn this shade, which is like this bronze shimmer. It's so good. And I'd love to see Too Faced do like a chocolate gold too with different shades. I talked about in makeup that I love that I would change is that I wish this gold pan was like the size of these pans. and there was like a blue or one more pop of color, because then I think I'd have every colorful shimmer that I could possibly imagine. And the last palette that I have is actually a face palette. And it's the Anastacio Beverly Hills Sugar Glow Kit, which was their holiday release for 2018, I believe. And something about this color scheme is very fall. Maybe it's the fact there's like a pink and a bunch of bronzes and this duochrome one. I will do swatches of all of these highlighters, but this, I have a few of the Anastacia Beverly Hills Glow Kits and a few highlighter palettes in general, but I think I like this one best because one, all the shades can fit my skin tone, and there's something unique about every shade. So this shade is the shade Gumdrop, and it's a duochrome. So it's like a golden pink duochrome. You have the shade Marshmallow, which is another like yellow duochrome. The shade Starburst, which is my favorite pinky highlighter. The shade Butterscotch, which is a golden highlighter. So those are the shades from the Glow Kit, and I just can't get enough of this thing that I actually had to stop using it for a while so I can show my other highlighters in my collection some love. If you have a skin tone that's like darker than mine, I don't know how this would work for you, because I find that I like this because I'm so fair. Sometimes highlighters can leave that gray cast on me, but I love this. The shade over here, which is Gumdrop, can be slightly too dark for me, so I even use it as a really fun eyeshadow. But Butterscotch is one of the only golden highlights that works on me, and I'm very finicky when it comes to pink highlights, so Starburst is the way to go. I do shy away from Marshmallow because it's so duochrome, but as an inner corner and brow bone highlight, it like steals the show. So those are some of my favorite palettes that I love to reach for when it comes to the fall time. What's your favorite fall makeup? I also have a video on my channel talking about my favorite lipsticks for fall, so if you haven't seen that, I'll have it linked up above or down below. But let me know which makeup you like to reach for when the fall season runs around. I hope you like this video. If you do, please consider subscribing to my channel and giving this a thumbs up. I post a new video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, and I'd love if you come join me next time. But that's gonna wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching.